In today's Mastering the Basics lesson, we're going to focus on just 2 out of those 9 features of English speech that we looked at earlier in this module of the course. And the 2 parts of speech we're going to look at today are, of course, super important, and they are awesome adjectives and amazing adverbs. So these are really commonly used parts of English speaking, and we definitely need to develop our understanding of them. At the base, they sound pretty simple, and they are, in a sense, although there are different ways in which we can group them, different ways which we can use them, and understanding this will really help us be accurate within our English speaking. So we're going to focus on adjectives and adverbs today and really go a bit more in depth into how we can use these types of language, types of words within our speaking too. So let's begin our lesson. See if you can identify all the adjectives and adverbs in the passage below. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to do this. There may be some differences between people, but just try and identify as many obvious adjectives and adverbs as you can. If you don't really know how to do it yet, don't worry about it. Just remember, adjectives describing words. Adverbs, really, they mostly describe verbs. That's how we're going to think of them for now. So I'm going to show you a short piece of writing, a passage of writing. I just want you to read it for 1 minute and try and find some adjectives and adverbs. And your 1 minute starts now. And that is the end of your 1 minute time limit. So well done if you managed to identify a few, but don't worry if not. This is definitely just a quick practice activity where, it's great if you can find some adjectives and adverbs, but if not, don't worry, we're right at the start of the course, the first module really of our learning. So here are a few adverbs and adjectives that I identified. There was a few other ones that you could maybe argue or at least say, well, that's almost an adverb, especially, but generally speaking, these are the main obvious ones. Okay, so the main point that I wanted to make to you is that they're used a lot, and you may be thinking, well, they're pretty simple ideas, adjectives, adverbs. Yes, in a way, but also we can really go a bit more in depth with our understanding of adjectives and adverbs and consider different ways that they can be used and for different reasons. All of this understanding is going to improve your overall fluency in English language and English speaking, which is, of course, our main goal. So let's move on and take a look at awesome adjectives. So, adjectives can be considered, can be grouped into 5 different groups. That's how I personally group them. You may be able to find different groupings, but I think adjectives are best placed in 5 different groups. And again, this will help with your understanding of their use and their importance. So we can have adjectives of quality. This is generally what people think adjectives just are, describing words of nouns, but not quite. We can also have adjectives of quantity, demonstrative adjectives, adjectives of number. This one's pretty straightforward. And we can also have interrogative adjectives. Super useful to know all these interrogative adjectives. Okay, so let's go through them each and take a look at them in a little bit more detail. So we'll begin with adjectives of quality. And this is that classic example of an adjective that describes how the noun is. It describes the quality of the noun. This can be things like honest, short, happy, ugly, large, important, young, all adjectives used to describe nouns. Hey, be careful, that letter is very important. So we have letter, which is our noun, and then we have very, which actually is an adverb, and important, which is our adjective. The letter, the quality of the letter is important. I'm usually a pretty happy sort of guy, I think. Okay, so here we have happy, and it's really giving a quality to the noun, which is guy. I'm really a happy guy, a happy sort of guy. Okay, so adjectives of quantity, and this simply gives the noun's amount. How much of the noun is there? This can be all, many, a few, some, loads, very colloquial, native sounding loads, half or most. I'm full, thanks. I ate most of my lunch already. There's loads of hotels offering discounts right now. Okay, so a few examples of using adjectives of quantity. Again, loads, really native sounding, used especially by British speakers a lot. Okay, let's move on, and we're now going to see demonstrative adjectives. And this really describes how the noun is. That, this, these, and those. That bag just over there is definitely mine. So we're kind of signaling to the noun as well. We're defining it in more detail. We're almost pointing to it. That bag. So we can see the adjective that and we have the noun bag are closely linked together. That bag just over there is definitely mine. Okay, adjectives of number, they just show the exact number of nouns, and it really is only for exact numbers. So any given number this can work for. A quick example for you. I've only got 5 days left until my test. How many days? Can we describe how many days? 5 days. The adjective of number, 5. Interrogative adjectives, so our final type of adjectives. And these are really question openers that we can use when asking questions. What, where, when, how, why, and who. So really useful words there, and they can open questions. When they're next to the noun, they become interrogative adjectives as you can see in this example. What restaurant is your favorite? So there we're describing the noun. What restaurant is your favorite? Again, these W words above, super useful, and we'll be returning to them throughout the course. Okay, so that's all on the different kinds of adjectives. It's useful to know that there are different types and they can be used for different reasons. But I don't want to leave out our amazing adverbs. So in a similar way to adjectives, adverbs can be split into different groups 2. And I teach 3 groups of adverbs. Adverbs generally are considered ly ending words, but that's not always the case. It doesn't always have to be just quickly, those types of adverbs. However, they are the most common and the most commonly understood. Adverbs of manner. So this describes how a verb was acted. This is pretty much what people always define adverbs as. This is the first thought of what an adverb is. Slowly, badly, beautifully, loudly, happily. You performed the dance beautifully. In purple, we have our past tense verb performed, and in green, our adverb, which modifies performed. It gives extra information. Beautifully, performed beautifully. Okay, so our next type of adverb is adverbs of degree. And this really describes the action's current state. This can be almost, fully, rather, to, enough, perfectly. I was almost falling asleep then. In green, we have our adverb almost, not quite, nearly. And there we have a phrasal verb. 2 words to make a phrase. A phrasal verb. Falling asleep. This can be considered a one verb, one phrase. Almost falling asleep. Our last type of adverb is adverbs of affirmation, and this is to confirm, either positively or negatively, plus not. So we can have certainly, surely, apparently, obviously, and we can also add not, certainly not, surely not, apparently not, obviously not. Here's an example for you. Surely you brought your passport, Lewis. Surely is to say, you must have. You must have brought it. Brought is our verb in purple. Surely you brought your passport, Lewis. Okay, so that is 3 kinds of adverbs. And as you can see, not always ly ending. Just, it's good to understand that you don't always end your adverbs with ly. Okay, so time for our animated section of this lesson.